Welcome to the USDI Innovative HyFlex Instructional Design Plan presentation. This is Ernesto Jaime Jr., PhD in Education, major in Instructional Design here at Bukidnon State University. Now, I am going to present to you the Universal Skills Development Institute or USDI Instructional Learning and Competency Framework. The USDI Instructional Learning and Competency Framework has four major competency foundations, which are the knowledge, the skills, aptitude, and the values. These four major core competency foundations that act like a spinning wheel around the inner core competencies that the learner should acquire at the end of the holistic process. Now, what is innovative HyFlex instructional design adapted by USDI? The USDI Innovative HyFlex of Instructional Design is a combination of face-to-face plus the online and virtual plus the modular plus the flexibility, which results to a holistic learning of individual that delivers learning and competencies using the following strategies: virtual live lectures and discussions, pre-recorded lectures, recorded post-discussions, easy to access lecture materials, exclusive online instructional videos, online cognitive assessments, synchronous and non-synchronous instruction, electronic modules, virtual coaching and mentoring, flexible time for learning and assessment, learning while working, face-to-face skills demo and return demonstration, face-to-face skills assessment, flexible assessment schedules, the online assessment, physical on-the-job training, and instructor-guided activities. The USDI Innovative HyFlex Instructional Design is created to answer the needs of the overseas Filipino workers or the OFWs, which is to acquire and experience new learnings, skills, and continuous growth by enrolling different programs offered by the USDI. In this instructional design for OFWs, students have the freedom to study when and where they want to, based on their own needs, desire, and preferences. Students can study, listen, and learn using their gadgets whenever and wherever they are, even during their working time. Students can continue to study, listen, and learn even when they are remote or away from the classrooms. And students learn the skills via live stream or recorded online demonstration and come to the school to do the return demo and perform for skills assessment face-to-face. Now, here is the process framework of the Instructional Design Plan employed in creating the innovative HyFlex Instructional Design for USDI. The process adopts the cyclical feature of the ADDIE model, since ADDIE model has identified weaknesses in each of the phase, then different macro and micro instructional design models have to be linked and employed in every phase. In phase 1, which is the project initiation, the following macro and micro ID models are employed: Dick and Carey model, Kaufman model of extensive assessment, and the Nerk and Gustafsson model. For the second phase, which is the design, The following macro and micro ID models are employed: the ABCD model, Dick and Carey model, Kemp's model, the Bloom's taxonomy, Kirkpatrick's model, the Hannifin and Peck design model, the Gagne's 9 events of instruction. The third phase, which is the development phase, employs the following macro and micro ID models: the Dick and Carey model, the Kemp's model, the Hannifin-Peck design model. The fourth phase, which is the implementation, employs and linked with the following macro and micro ID models: the Dick and Carey model, Kemp's model, and the Hannifin-Peck design model. The fifth phase, which is the evaluation, employs the different ID models. We have the Stakes model, the Scrivens model, and the CIPP model, and the last one is the Kemp's model. Each and every phase should pass through the formative assessment. From phase 1, it has to undergo the formative assessment using different tools for the assessment. After the second phase, before it reaches the development phase, it has to undergo the formative assessment also. So on and so forth, from the development to implementation, evaluation, and it can go back again to project initiation. Now, let me present to you the USDI Innovative HyFlex Instructional Design Plan Matrix, where you can find the instructional design phases. For phase 1, the project initiation. Phase 2 is the designing phase. Phase 3 is the development phase. Phase 4 is the implementation phase. And the last phase, phase 5, is the evaluation phase. And we follow the timeline. For phase 1, we have 2 to 3 months. Phase 2, 2 to 3 months. Phase 3 is 2 to 3 months. Phase 4 from 6 to 8 months. And the fifth phase, which is the evaluation phase, is 1 to 2 months. Here are the areas to be considered. The models. For phase 1, we have Dick and Carey model, the Kaufman model of extensive assessment, and the Nerk and Gustafson model. For phase 2, which is the designing phase, we include the models: ABCD model for writing objectives, Dick and Carey model, Kemp's model, the Bloom's taxonomy, the Kirkpatrick's model, the Hannifin-Peck design model, and the Gagne's 9 events of instruction. For the third phase, we employ the Dick and Carey model, Kemp's model, the Hannifin-Peck design model. On the implementation phase, we employ the Dick and Carey model, the Kemp's model, Hannifin-Peck model. And for phase 5, which is the evaluation phase, we employ Stakes model, Scrivens model, the CIPP model, and the Kemp's model. The next area to be considered are the tasks. For the phase 1, we need to have the needs assessment, the impact assessment, the classroom and physical environment assessment, the needs analysis, needs reporting and documentation, identifying the instructional goal, and the problem's determination. On the second phase, we have the designing of objectives, design instructions, creating instructional strategies, designing or developing criterion reference, designing and writing performance objectives, designing measurements for the effectiveness of the instructional design, design the simulation program, design the rubrics for formative, summative, and confirmative evaluations, the prototype creation. On the third phase, which is the development phase, the tasks have to be done. First is the developing instructional materials. We have the content development. Next is developing delivery strategies, producing instruction, working with media, production of the learning product in line with the design, develop the instructional strategies, media, and methods, development and evaluation of assessments and evaluation tools, deployment of required technology, development of a communication strategy around the learning interventions, develop a simulation program. On the fourth phase, which is the implementation, planning and managing implementation, running of the simulation program, training, delivery, and participation, changes in the physical environment, implementation of a communication plan, and the execution of formal evaluations. And the last phase, which is the evaluation, the task is to conduct of the summative assessment. The next tool. The next area to consider are the tools. For phase 1, Criterion Reference Test, or the CRT, the Delphi technique, interview questionnaire, survey questionnaires, focus group, and the SWOT or the SWOT analysis. The tools that we will use for phase 2 are the content authoring tools, video and recording tools, learning management systems or the LMS, the live webinar tools, tools for creative graphics, and the communication tools. On the third phase, the development phase, integration of different technologies is a tool that will be used. On the fourth phase, which is the implementation phase, the policy and the manual are the tools that will be employed. On the fifth, which is the evaluation phase, criterion reference test is a tool that will be used. Now, for the technology, on phase 1, we need to have computer, database, information technology, and internet. For the phase 2, computer, database, information technology, and the internet. For the third phase, computer, database, information technology, and the internet. In the implementation phase, the technology are as follows: computer, database, information technology, and the internet. On the fifth phase, which is the evaluation phase, the following technologies are employed: computer, database, information technology, and the internet. The next area to be considered are the methodologies. For the first phase, research methodologies are employed. On the second phase, the participatory design or the PD will be employed. On the third phase, the participatory approach of development is employed. And the fourth phase, the implementation phase, is the Rogers implementation model. And the fifth phase, which is the evaluation, we will use the constructivist method. The last phase, or the last area to be considered, are the assessments On the first phase, we will use the formative. And then, on the second phase, we will use the formative and the confirmative assessment tools. And then on the third phase, on the development phase, we will use the formative and the confirmative. On the fourth phase, the formative and confirmative assessments are to be used. And on the fifth phase, which is the evaluation phase, is the summative assessment. This is the USDI HyFlex Instructional Design Plan. Again, this is Ernesto Jaime Jr. Thank you for listening.